Hey, friends, it's Short John here, and today I'm gonna tell you about an episode, The Roar, from the year 2022 called The Woman Who, held up on the ceiling, lived with a girl whose mother invited her to all the beauty pageants in town. Her mother always said if I had to choose between you being smart and you being pretty, I'd choose pretty every time. I'd pick the pretty one, and those words bonded with the child. This little girl grew up to become the beautiful Amelia, the supermodel with a big future ahead of her. A big future ahead of her. She's very successful in her work, but she also comes in and is pretty boring and constantly bothered. Creepy photographer, and during one of her many fashion shows, Amelia meets Harry and a handsome millionaire, and they develop a passionate. And soon Amelia moves into a giant mansion in the mountains. She thinks life is almost a fairy tale. One morning Amelia wakes up to some strange noises coming from the study. Harry goes to see what's going on and discovers that her boyfriend is hanging a giant shelf on the wall. A giant shelf, which is rare for Harry, and because he usually prefers to hire a professional, but today he's claims to be inspired by it. Shelves for books or trophies, and for the gifts for Amelia, who finds the gift very nice but doesn't think it will hold all her shoes and mint. Daguerre explains that the shelf is literally designed for Melly herself. Will have a great view of the pool and of Harry's desk, and so that it will allow him to look at it while he's working. Thinks something will make him invincible, and he's going to launch 100 businesses because looking at it makes him happy. Amelie doesn't like the idea very much, but it does. Reminds Harry that he has to work, too, but he just replies that if this one goes away, out of there because she hates her job anyway. Harry thinks she's too special and to live a normal life and wants to make sure she never has to worry about anything ever again. He even promises to always idolize her, and as long as she's up there, he doesn't care what people say. He just keeps insisting that it makes you the luckiest, the happiest person in the world. So Amelia gives in and agrees to try and get Harry, helps her up the stairs so she can eat on the shelf, and then gives her a pillow to make her more comfortable. Before he takes the ladder down, he says it's a pretty nice picture of a pretty nice of life. Then Harry goes to cook tomorrow for both of them, and now that she's alone in room, Amelie start trying to focus on comfort. A little while later, Amelie gets married, but even during the party, Amel spends all her time steadying her wedding dress on a shelf and watching everyone socializing and chatting. When Harry makes a little speech, he asks for a toast by the mile, and she feels honored by the theme of her looking at all those. Spends his wedding night on the shelves with his new wife. As time goes on, Amelia tries to keep you busy in all sorts of ways, like reading magazines, taking care of your nails, and even with exercise. The heavy breathing she produces during exercise distracts you from the grief of business phone calls, but he doesn't. Burns also almost every day brings lavish gifts like gorgeous flowers and sparkly jewelry and delicious chocolates. The initial excitement soon begins fade away. Staying on the shelf is incredibly boring, and even the maid won't be chatting with Amelia apart from the basic questions. This life robs her of her independence, autonomy, and free will. I'm burning too, and I'm getting poorer. To pay less attention to her, only come in to send an air kisses before you leave, and no more brings and gifts. He doesn't even notice the beautiful dresses that they put on, especially for him, and now he's also infected by any noise she might make while he's working, and so he will ignore her attempts to make conversation and won't even let her hum a little tune either. Has become nothing more than a decoration on the wall, literally a trophy wife. One afternoon, Amelia gets Osama a glamorous dress, wishing that Harry would at least look at her. Instead, Harry notices that the unnaturalness of it doesn't reach him, has become so he asks his staff to help him change the situation. Now Amelia's stuck, holding back tears. 3 years later, Amelie still lying on the shelf. She hears Harry. Harry comes home from work, but he doesn't come to see her. He's grown distant from her. He's bored. Amelia calls him by name. She even starts screaming, but it still doesn't get her husband's attention. The last straw that finally breaks. Amelia has to decide that it's time to get off the shelf. It's harder than it looks. The distance to the floor isn't very far, but After all these years of Amelia being stuck there, the scary thing about being a test is that she says her shoes that she wants to break up and then throws it away, but seeing it fallen out of so only intensifies. However, on determined and so practicing too, Shu decides to take the leap. Amelia slowly starts to climb down without unable to hold on to the shelf anymore. She falls down on the floor. From the point of view of the mile, it's a terrifying fall. In fact, she falls to the floor quickly and unharmed and hard to walk after years of inactivity with atrophied legs. So Amelia uses Emil to get up, slowly and clumsily walks outside, the feeling of the wind blowing on her face. Amelia is again delighted, and soon she begins to explore like a child, seeing the world for the first time. Spinning with happiness, Amelia almost falls into the pool, throwing bundles of tennis balls, and dances through the hallways of the house before she finds shoes to go outside and get on. You feel like you're part of society again, and even asks her husband for a ride. And the bike ride is a lot of fun, and as soon as they reach the coast, Amelie leaves to continue her research. She dances again with a stranger and eventually reaches to the beach, where she is joined by a group of dancers, and then she runs into the sea, and the cold wave is just what she needed to bring her back to reality. After Amelia tries to talk to the strangers, but they're not interested in happiness and refuse to lend a towel, and feeling cold and alone, she decides to wander the city again until she stumbles upon a cosmetics store of cosmetics. Noticing some women girls' makeup and the state of my face in the reflection, the windows, and my mascara is running, and my face is covered in dirt, wanting to feel beautiful again. Amelia walks into a store and uses the free samples to clean up her face, probably feeling better about herself, and one of the clerks, Jordan, is impressed with Amelia's makeup skills, and she wonders if Amelia is a makeup artist. Amelia quickly explains that I am. The job is to sit like a millionaire's trophy. Surprisingly, Jordan doesn't judge her for it because her mother taught her that it's important to be happy. Amelie responds by sharing her mother's philosophy that beauty is more important than intelligence, and Jordan says it doesn't have to be. She can have both. Hesitation. She takes a poker and starts hitting the shelf to destroy it. It's slow because destroying such big things is always scary, but soon it starts to feel a great deal of pleasure, so Amelie starts smashing faster until the shelf, there's almost none left. A year later, Amelie opening her own cosmetics store under her own brand. It's a big success, and there's always a lot of people outside waiting for their turn. But even at Amelie's store, repeating old patterns, she sits on a shelf with a neon sign above her that says "Let them look around," intending to be a model of how she is both very beautiful and smart enough to handle customers come to her to say hello and call her pretty nothing anymore. So Amelia will continue to be just another cog in the beauty wheel, designed to belittle women as nothing more than to living trophies. And that's it, gentlemen. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to